cost you though.
Where's it? Okay.
Yeah, I have
can
admired
see
that
it.
since the day I walked in here 4 years ago. I have admired that thing.
You know, I think I finally got rid of all of your stuff that you finally sold me.
Is that right?
Even the back row?
Even the back room?
Everything.
The Migo girl, yeah.
Like, no, I'm referring to not like the recent stuff, but the original stuff.
The original stuff. It's all
How many
gone.
years ago?
There was a lot of Doctor Who stuff in there. Yeah, yeah.
It took me years to sell all that shit.
How did you know that it was all like when you ran around with rides?
I remember, right?
I wrote it all in at one time. Yeah, yeah. Shortly after I moved here.
I remember everything.
I don't think it's a ridiculous, especially getting comments all the time.
It was toys.
Oh,
It was toys.
Right
and
here,
action
Kyle,
figures,
and
yeah.
over there.
I don't think I brought in any comics that time.
No.
Yeah,
He just.
it was
I'm
like,
sorry, I
he-
misunderstood. That's
Yeah,
what-
no, he came in and he had a shit ton of toys,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, I know what this is selling for, but in reality,
Yeah, and you have to be prepared for that.
it's just not going to move.
No,
And
no.
like literally, I think the last thing that moved
I
was like almost 4 months ago, 3 months ago.
So it's almost 4 years you had it here then.
Exactly.
Holy shit. Because I bought my house Labor Day weekend.
Mhm.
Well, I moved in Labor Day weekend, so that was 4 years ago last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was selling some stuff for my friend's like stepfather.
Mhm.
He just wants to move stuff, and I told him, I'm like, he's like, no, I'm like, I need a number.
Yeah.
I need a bottom dollar. And he's like, well, I pay. I'm like, give me a number.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm like, I need a bottom dollar, so when I'm haggling with somebody, I know not to go below.
Right.
If it's
And
not
that's-
my stuff,
No,
I
it-
don't care.
For my ex's best friend, I sold all of his. He had a complete Micronauts collection from the 70s. He had a near complete Nightmare Before Christmas. All the shit that came out, like the original shit, not the Japanese remix, like the original stuff. And I said, listen, I need to know on each item what is your bottom dollar, because otherwise.
He has like a Simpsons Christmas ornament train, like it would be
wow.
bought like piece by piece. But I start pricing like there's one that's worth like it's selling on eBay for like $60, but then there's two that are selling for $5 or less. So it's like I'm putting it out as a set,
Yeah.
but I'm like I need to know. He's like, well, I paid like $25 for thing, and I'm like I'd like to get like $10 per. I'm like, I'm selling it as a set. Give me a bottom dollar. And he's like $100. I'm like, thank you. I'll put it out to $200, and I'll haggle down. And
Yeah.
basically, my agreement is, if I get you more, I'll get you more, but I am taking a percentage of whatever's over 100. I'm taking a percentage.
Right.
Of.
Yeah.
And he's like,
That gets tricky. Like,
but
especially,
I'm like, no, you understand? I'm driving your shit.
yeah.
I'm driving your shit from Newmanstown to Oaks.
Oh,
And
whatever.
and whatever's left, I'm bringing back to you.
Right.
That's 2 trips. That's a trip. That's like at least that's about a tank of gas.
Can I ask you, Kyle, for RetroCon, when did you have to pay by? Like, when did you have to sign up and pay by?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay, so it's not long in advance.
Yeah, it was like I think all our stuff was like a little over a month ago.
Will you let me know
But
next year?
but we got in right at like the very end.
Okay, because my sister and I definitely want to get a table.
Yeah.
Especially my nephew just moved
whenever
back.
whenever I see Tony and Rose, the people that run it, whenever I see they put up the table for sale, I'll tag
Let
you.
me know. 'Cause
I'll share it and tag you.
Okay. My nephew just moved back from Tampa with his wife, and he has a humongous Beetlejuice, Thundercats, Silverhawks, all that stuff from like the late 80s, mid to late 80s.
My thing is, I thought I was going to make a little more money before Amazon took off. He was going to let me take a lot of the toys up in the basement, and basically he gives me a number whenever I sell over that number. I can keep.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was one of those like I thought I would be making a little extra money on that, so I didn't go hardcore into my own stuff. And then Amazon blew up, and he doesn't want me to take anything. So I'm selling the stuff. I have everything that I took last year is still packed in boxes from last year.
Oh, that's
So
convenient.
I'm just grabbing those boxes and taking them.
Yeah.
But I'm not really adding anything to it other than this guy's, and it's all Simpsons.
Do you still
Which
have
I'm
your
hoping.
Elastigirl?
Yeah.
And do you still have your? Did you have Robot Man or Negative Man?
I have Negative Man, and Robot Man is the. I think I sell Robot Man too. I didn't sell any of them
Okay.
because I know you were interested.
Let's
in
work
them.
out a deal on that. Don't
Yeah.
take those.
All
We'll
right.
work out a deal.
Well, I wasn't taking the Negative Man or make sure I take Elastigirl out of the box.
Yes, I
Or
want.
worst case, I just keep it in the box.
I want Doom Patrol. I totally forgot about that until just now.
Yeah. I thought about that the other day, and I'm like, can I say something to Brian?
Yeah.
Before
I
anything?
really want the Doom Patrol
Yeah. They did
They're
the DC Universe Classics
from Mattel. They're beautiful. They are beautiful.
And the Elastigirl was, and you had to sign up for the Maddie Collector Club.
Yeah.
And it was one of the ones they sent you. And
She came in the mailer box.
Yeah. And I had that at RetroCon last year, and he's like, I want them. But he's like, dude, the other ones? I'm like, yeah, somewhere. And he's like, we'll work something out.
Yeah, and then I totally brain farted it. Completely brain farted it.
And it's
Till
also
just
one of
now.
those things where I'm not going to be so nice. So Brian, you want those big? So Brian, you want those big?
I don't feel like I get overwhelmed at cons, but for some reason with RetroCon, it's like everything's so different at every table. Yeah, it's like you gotta get like jarred around.
I
Yeah.
have to, even when kind of like I have to just sit there and just keep the money in my pocket because I walk somewhere and I'm like, I used to have that. I want that.
Exactly.
I used to have that. I want
That's
that.
Jeff and I.
Think about if everyone did that. So there people would just be, Jesus Christ.
I usually end up spending like $200 every time I go.
Jeff did the green arrow.
You went.
I gotta tell you, I went last year. I found nothing.
That's right. You and Jen were there the same day we were. We missed you, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was where we saw George Six.
No, that was that other horrible convention.
That was.
It was a comic book convention.
Oh, that's right.
No, at Richard they did Sergeant Slaughter. That was
That's right.
Sergeant Slaughter, and then the Voice of the Baroness.
When I say horrible, I think it's $35.
No, I know. That was.
Jeff almost killed me.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why it was so expensive. There were like 3 vendors.
$5 to get in.
Yeah, you're right. That was the. It was at Oaks, though, right?
Yeah.
It was just
It
they
was
had
at the
everything
same-
arranged.
What is the ticket to the RetroCon? Yeah, that's more. That's definitely.
It's 20.
It's not bad. It's just. It's still kind of like.
I still know kids under a certain age are free.
Which is how it should be. But I get everything. I get like refrigerator magnets, and I get like pins and like weird stuff that I just
I bought a
love.
Batman 66 air freshener last year.
So you know.
Next year, I think for me next year is gonna be a bigger year for me because planning in for next year, I'm going through all my GI Joe stuff, and because I was one of those that
That's
my OCD let me have one thing. It may not all be with the thing it came with, but I never got rid of a part. So like if something like a missile would fall from me, I have a box that's just full of like the missiles and the guns and everything off the vehicles that I have. So it's just me taking the time to sit down with the vehicle,
Yeah.
pull up a picture, because there's pictures of what came with everything online, and just match all the stuff I have to that.
Very
Be
cool.
like, this is complete. Oh, I have it complete. That just double things.
And it's so exciting when you get it. Like last year, my sister and I sold at Renninger's, I think, Adamstown. I sold all of Jeff's. He had a near complete collection of when the original Star Wars trilogy came out in the late 70s. They came out with die-cast vehicles, land speeders, the Millennium Falcon, the triangle-shaped bad ships, whatever they were called.
Star Destroyers.
Star Destroyers. And I sold those all for him last year at Adamstown. And one collector just came up. He did not haggle on price. He almost shit his drawers. He was like, I will take everything. And he did.
Probably because it's priced very.
That makes
It was priced very well.
And that's the first year that Ryan and I were at RetroCon. That's why we sold so much because we saw stuff around stands where people were selling it for $5, $10 over newer. We're like, what price is this stuff?
To move it, to get rid of it, yeah.
It's weird. I was there for a while. I guess I was in. Ryan was like left for a little bit or something. I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, Ryan I think was off doing something with the GI Joe.
I bought Ryan's Kingdom Come Wonder Woman figure.
Yeah,
She's still on my desk at work.
She's a bully.
Yeah, I pretend she's Apollo. Because that's the armor that Apollo wore when she died.
I think I think both of those are part of. This was the only one that was upstairs. I can go first and give it to you.
Okay.
I'll do my movies first and then just hand it over.
Thank you, Lee.
My pleasure.
So yeah. Yeah, I'm excited, but I don't have high expectations for how much I'll actually bring in. But I know if I bring in like $200-300.
Yeah.
Because the first year I made like 800.
Nice.
The second year, last year I made like 5 something. So this year I'm
It's just Saturday and Sunday.
just Saturday and Sunday. So what I might do is Saturday I'm gonna take a lot of the stuff that I already had, and then I'm gonna have another box. There's a box of stuff that I'm debating whether I want to sell, and I think I'm gonna take it with me. I'll put it out, but I'll put it out higher than I want to sell it for.
Right.
And then if somebody is like, oh, okay, I'll take that. I'm like, all right, yeah,
More the better.
done. But
Yeah.
if someone like,
You know what I would love to get my hands on? When I was a kid?
What?
Is the original Stretch Armstrong. The
Stretch monster.
Yes.
Okay, Lee. The head alone.
I know how much it is.
The head alone sells for $800.
Something happened with like the bodies that just.
They fell apart. They dry rotted. I never had Stretch Armstrong. My cousin, I had Stretch Monster. I loved that fucking thing so much. Listen to this. When he died, when it finally sprouted and like the purple goose started coming out of it, I had a funeral. What's that?
It was jelly.
It was jelly. I had a funeral for him in the backyard, and I literally dug a hole and we buried him in the backyard. So as far as I know, whoever's living in that house now, that styrofoam. I had the original styrofoam box that they came in. You know, because like it was shaped for their bodies. I buried him in that box. So years later, when I got into like collecting retro toys, I wanted that piece back because that was one of the big pieces of my childhood. Holy fuck!
You can eventually.
The head alone sells for $800. The head was hard plastic.
No, I know. I had the. I was little. They
reissued.
Okay.
They reissued that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had that, and they made a toy. I forget what they were called, but they were like the bad guys form, and you instead of they stretched as well, but they also came with a pump that you put in the back. When you did that, they like solidified and like so they could like hurt him and stuff. I had those guys. I don't know if they were. They probably have to be original.
So that was
probably
one of my
find those, but I don't
most
think
treasured.
Yeah, and then when that kid fucking destroyed it,
Mine broke. I think my brother cut mine.
smashed all the face in the goddamn shell.
Mine came with like an oil, and you were supposed to occasionally oil
Yeah,
the skin.
you
I
were.
never did that.
I did.
That's
I
right.
took so good care
Never got
of
to oil
these.
my wrestlers.
And then, yeah, I remember I was in elementary school, and then the fucking kids decided they wanted to stretch it. And then I lost it, right? I lost it.
I can understand
smashed it in his face in the shell.
I remember you telling that story now.
Oh.
That's wrong.
My grandmother bought. I still have the one toy my grandmother bought me.
I just
Well,
watched,
outside of that,
just got into like the NXT stuff now. I just
Which
watched
is
the
what?
match
It's a
with
Godzilla.
Owens with
Mhm.
Power
Has
Box.
rollers on his feet, has a lever on the back, plastic tongue had fire,
That was
I know
nice.
and
well.
had a button,
I think it was all
shot his arm.
His fist
That
came
was,
off.
that was how he was supposed to go out.
Still
But
have
then
it.
he
I
did
remember
get hurt
well.
by
I still even have the box for it. I saw it, I think 10 years ago at New York, Chicago Comic Con.
Gotta have it.
No,
Oh no, you still had your
I
original.
still have, I
Right,
still
right.
have my
They
original.
said,
Yeah.
they said 6 months, and that was
And
back
the
in-
guy was selling it for $300.
Yeah, because it was right when I started watching it.
And he didn't even have the box.
He was 6
And I
months.
was like,
and,
You got your box.
I have the box still. Now the box
he
is,
actually
you
had
know,
no shoulder shoulders.
dry rot kind of deal.
Yeah.
But it, you know,
Something
like
we
if you
watched
touch
on
it too
NXT for a
much,
while,
it
like,
may
it's
actually
aggravating,
crumble.
like how quickly sometimes they.
It's so funny though that you
like,
brought
really
up
build 'em up,
Stretch
and then, like,
Monster.
Kevin Owens is already, seems like he's
That
the
is one of
WWE
the
now, like,
most
he's not gonna go
valuable
back.
toys from
There's
the
some
70s
guys that
if you can find it.
and
But they all,
doesn't matter
basically
how
everybody
long
that had
the
one, the
build
same
is,
thing happened.
came from.
No,
The skin
right.
eventually
If you're-
ruptured
if
and
you're
the purple
from another
stuff came
country,
out,
you're going through
and that was the end of it.
Do you think Balor's?
I probably would. I mean, if it wasn't for those kids, I would still have it. Because literally, I used to boil the skin.
I didn't even
So you really took good
I-
care of
I don't
yours.
wanna- that was- I'm
And then, you know,
But I think Joe will get
That makes sense.
But actually,
I really wish I still had it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not so much for the price of it.
a lot of their tag teams, I
You
think
know.
a lot of
Yeah.
tag teams.
It's a nostalgia.
I love them, but they
It's a good
The
gimmick.
Stretch Monster was cute. He had like one little fang that came up out of his mouth.
Yeah.
you watch
Just the cutest little thing.
Yeah, Raw's the one.
I have pictures of me as a kid sitting on the couch at home, like, hugging it.
Yeah.
It was like a teddy bear.
And people think it's gonna be important.
And I think it was because it was the first toy that actually stretched.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, it used to play, it could stretch up to 6 feet.
I never touched it. I was afraid.
Well, that was what
Yeah.
kids
So he could like
played around
go
with.
against.
Oh, God.
That's weird.
Well, you know, I bet you'll never stretch another one again. Fear.
You learned them good. Did you have Sucker Man?
TV and it's just like,
Did not.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause they
He
always
looks
make him
similar
like,
to Stretch
I think
Monster,
he's
but
awesome.
the
Make him like
The little suck.
suckers.
And I used to have another one of my favorite toys was like Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
that's true.
My sister and I played that for hours. That was hers, actually.
Everybody always loved like Hungry Hippo. I was like,
he's a
Yeah.
really good guy to
Did you have Gnip
face
Gnop?
to face, but at the same
no one
time,
had
like,
that.
the fans want
It's,
to over, and they
Each person has 3 ping pong
so
balls,
it's like it's,
and you have pedals that you slap with your hand. And the object was to slap all 3 of your ping pong balls through these hoops onto the other person's side. Like the whole thing was contained in like this plastic thing. We would play that until our hands bled.
Because Owens won his very first
The shit we played with in the 70s. Can you imagine like chemical sets now, erector sets? Like kids would kill themselves.
If you ever lose again,
Those clackers, did you have clackers with the glass balls that would go like this when you have?
No, now they're plastic.
Now they're plastic, but back in the day in the 70s they were glass.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
He was something else, right? He was some guy in Nexus.
yeah, he was Skip Shepherd.
This is so good, thank you.
Same way Bray Wyatt was Husky Harris. And the Nexus. You know that he's Iris' kid, right?
Yes, he's Mike Rotunda's kid.
Yeah, and Bo Dallas is.
Is nobody else eating? I feel
Got it.
Yeah, Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt are brothers.
Because I read that on.
Never feel embarrassed about eating food, Brian.
I will have food on it. So.
I don't know if I'm gonna eat the guy.
Hey, look. I don't want you to eat.
We're talking wrestling.
Wrestling's dead.
No, it's actually doing pretty well nowadays.
Is it? I thought it was like on its dead thing again.
No, they're doing the smart thing. We were just talking about the NXT. They kind of have the best of both worlds. They have like the more like what you say they have like the seasoned guys, but then they have like the younger guys that they push in NXT. So they're kind of doing both now.
It's true developmental territory, not hey, we're just gonna have these random guys.
And it's smart to televise it because then you have people that grow as their fans as they come up. Like it's really very smart. It's probably
9:30 exactly. We should probably start. Yeah.
So all the sound was lost last week. I should redo the big commercial.
Yeah, you should probably redo the big commercial.
No, we're good.
We've been golden. We've been
We were recording
this
that
whole
whole time.
entire time.
This episode of Saturday Morning Comics. Yeah, I gotta start it. This episode of Saturday Morning Comics is brought to you by. Oh, how rude of me! I forgot to do it. All right.
You were so good the previous week.
Yeah, what happened?
it was like
You know what happened? Because I think I actually practiced before I came to this week. I didn't do that this time. Now
That's what I heard.
I always. Yeah. This episode of. No, it's all
I'm
right.
so
No,
sorry.
No, it's all right.
All right, so it's Comic Book Resources, Comic Vine.
Comicbook.com.
Other than that,
Bleeding cool.
Cool Newsarama.
Newsarama. Thank you very much. I am so sorry. I didn't really mean to interrupt you. I really did. For
I
once.
like this. Your apology. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So for once, I didn't interrupt you. So,
Let me ask what you're doing.
yeah.
Are you talking? You're doing that thing you talked about the blog spot?
No, remember we talked about earlier about having like a blog spot to talk about this stuff.
Right.
I said it was Lee's idea.
He said Lee.
Oh. Now you know.
Mm.
I'm sorry we didn't discuss it with you earlier, but yeah, you're writing it.
Okay.
I'll give you access to one of Collectibles. If you need advice, just ask me.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have trouble logging in.
It's all done if you want to know what.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh.
don't be nice. But yeah, I guess.
I'll come back also. It might be cool.
I never said old. I don't even
Actually,
think
you did say old.
I think you guys. I really did say the
I
word.
think you did. I think you
You're
just
not
don't-
old.
I don't think you would.
I'm the, every time you two both say you're old, I'm always like, you guys are retarded.
Oh, now we're retarded old people.
We're old and retarded. My God, this
No,
is worse
but you
than
know what I
me.
mean. Like you guys have a weird
No, but
feel
in
for
comparison
old.
to the others, it's a relative thing.
You feel like you're old.
Yes.
Oh, speak for yourself.
You've said it before. You just don't say it.
Yeah, when I'm like my feet are killing me, my corns are acting up, and my hemorrhoids are
Blow
there.
your knee out.
I've blown my knee out twice. Well, both of them.
I have ones too. I have no good story. I was
Yeah.
getting more out of the car a few years ago, and my knee dislocated, and I got to go.
Oh God.
And what they eventually found out, what happened was the right side of my knee had been pulled all the way to the left side of my knee. Like they thought at first I had a torn meniscus. It was so severely dislocated.
Oh my God. Just because of how you tread,
I
or
guess how I picked him up and turned, and I guess I didn't pick my foot up off the ground, so I just tore my knee.
ouch.
Chris's sounds more like muscle, like he just was working too hard. Hope he's all right. Get Bell. Get Bell.
Get Bell. Get Bell.
Get some Taco Bell, Chris. You'll be sick and you won't think about your knee. This episode of Saturday Morning Comics is brought to you by, oh, how rude of me. I forgot to introduce myself to you, dear listener. My name is Chet Smilesworth, and I'm the new opening announcer for Saturday Morning Comics. A little about me. Like most people, I like fishing, sports, and of course, the occasional comic. Just a little bit more about me. Your new announcer, Chet Smilesworth, while I have you here. I had a normal birth at the stroke of midnight on Halloween. A full red moon rose as I emerged in the cold, a reminder of the blood my birth would spread over the dark night of my parents' life. Shortly after my birth, which took place in a condemned asylum for the state. Ooh, fuck. All right, I'm going to go for shortly after my birth. Should I just start over? Because this is a lot of tasks.
No, you made it pretty far, I would say.
I know, but it's a lot of tasks to do. No. All right. Phil, if you're listening, and I hope you are, I'm going to start it shortly after my birth, which takes place right after my parents'
Goddamn, Brian, you trying to get me drunk?
Mm-hmm.
and Lee's going to go.
Oh, no, he's trying to take advantage of
I
me.
will.
I know
my
how
way
you
with
gays
you.
are.
Yeah, that's us.
Oh, Christ. January thinks I'm gay.
Only for Spencer.
Yeah, you guys are like insane about us. So that was weird after the voting, where it was like, what did you pick? What did you pick? Shortly after my birth, which took place in a condemned asylum for the mentally ill, my father sacrificed my mother to the dark god Trigon, a thoughtful task to ensure my safety. It only cost the soul of my father, my mother, and me. So enough about me. This episode is, oh, you know what? That's the allocated time we had for the ad, so I'll get to it next week. Our sponsors don't really listen to these anyways, so enjoy this episode of Saturday Morning Comics. Hopefully I didn't fuck that up enough. Do we have enough time? I'll redo it. Which I won't do because I'll fuck it up.
Because you always forget that.
Yeah, I always forget that. Every time I noticed that. Anytime I ever said I would do something at the end, I'm just like, all right, everybody, I gotta go.
See you later. I gotta go. It's
Yeah,
getting late. So anyway, tonight's question.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa! We didn't do the
We
beginning.
didn't even do the intro.
Oh shit. Okay.
Welcome to episode 93.5 of Saturday Morning Comics, recorded here. And are we live?
We are live.
We're live.
Streaming on YouTube on oneupcollectibles.com. Oh, excuse me, scratch that. YouTube.com/oneupcollectibles. Bam.
I'm sure there's
delicious.
And I'm sure
Yeah,
there's a
yes.
link on your page, though, right?
You can actually go to oneupcollectibles.com and click in the upper right-hand side of YouTube, and bam, you'll be taken right to us.
And you're telling people,
Nice.
though, that are already either listening or viewing.
They can tell their friends.
That's true. Please tell your friends. Please.
Right.
Also, please tell your friends to email us.
Yes, at Saturday Morning Comics Podcast at gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. We're
Hey,
at all
we're going to
there.
be redesigning the site probably the next month.
Oh, that's great. We don't use it. Well, I think that will force us to use it.
We're going to redesign it. We're going to have little chat features.
Have Brian writing every article.
Brian write an article since he's actually a professional writer.
Yeah, right. That's
He
me.
just, you said you were, bitch. I got many podcasts that you said you were.
I can
Yeah,
write
you
well.
worked,
I'm
You
And
just
you worked-
don't like to do it because you're lazy.
exactly.
So let's force him to do work on his time.
Exactly. Actually, no, fuck that. He can work while he's at work.
Yeah, right.
I've actually tried to do that with the reviews before. It's not good. Like, it's just my work because they view our computers.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
writing an
I'm the
article
same
on
boat.
caps.
Yeah, they view our computers. I'm not supposed to do that. I was told that we're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Can I have a column? Can I have a column that's called Kyle's Crazy Corner, all spelled with K's?
That's not.
It's alliterative. Alliterative.
Kyle's Crazy Corner, all spelled with
starting with
K's.
Not good. Not good. I see now.
It's Kyle's Crazy Corner, written by Phil.
Goddamn Captain America!
Mm-hmm.
So, a few things before we get started. Strike Master is not here. He has a hurricane.
Hijacker's not
Yeah,
here.
Hijacker's not here.
Phil's not here.
Phil is
For
not
the
here.
like
Bowling.
85th consecutive episode, Spencer is not here.
Spencer's not
Yeah,
here.
right.
Marco is not on this one. There was some guy.
Where's
Johnny
Robbie?
Worth.
Anybody-
I saw Robbie tonight.
Robbie's alive. Good.
Yeah,
Robbie was never on this podcast. Though.
No, I don't think so. That's why.
Eric is never came on the show. That's the guy in the other podcast.
That's,
John,
yeah, that's the
John,
guy.
Johnny might be in the group with Vince. Who knows?
Johnny's probably into Boo Boo. He may be watching us.
At least
From
he
the
still has,
might be.
At least he still has Twitter, right? He still
He does have Twitter. Well, he watches us on YouTube.
I saw a picture of him in a suit. How is he in Cuckoo?
He looks quite dashing in his
Yeah,
suit. Yeah,
dapper even.
yeah, dapper even.
Well, I know Kelly gets a little upset when she comes home and sees us on YouTube on the TV.
Oh, she does.
Well, yeah, when you find
your-
your
is
husband
your-
masturbating
is
with
your-
his friends.
Yeah, it's probably a little awkward.
What about Faith? Is Faith watching?
I'm sure Faith is watching. Can you see her on there?
Faith, no, I cannot see her. It's not a two-way communication thing.
No, but I mean, can you see that we have viewers?
We actually have 2 people watching, which is why I assume
One
of
is
them
her.
was-
One is her, yes.
Is the other one Jan?
Or Spencer.
Faith, text me if you're watching.
No, it's some person by the name of Orrin Smith who has been commenting on our YouTube videos. I don't know who Orrin is. So, Orrin, I don't know who you are.
Or write us an email at SaturdayMorningComicsPodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can just type in the live chat feature right now.
Visit us.
Do it now.
Or you can type in the live chat feature right now.
Do it now. Kill him. He's right here.
Maybe you didn't hear me. Type in the chat feature.
Leave the poor viewer alone.
Okay.
Leave him
You
alone.
have to sell. Viewers don't like to be told what to do.
All right.
So,
So they have not shopped here.
oh, how do you know that? That's
They have not worked here.
Because people that come here like to be told things.
That's true. Even your customer.
Absolutely. You listen all the time, don't you?
It's true. I tried to buy some earlier though, and you wouldn't let me.
No, I told you. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
You said, your exact words were, "No, we're closed."
But then I said, okay, I'll buy it next week, and you said no, you're buying it
Why
tonight.
would you put that on its side like that?
The viewers, we were having discussions off here. That's what we're talking about.
Right. Okay.
All right, so Lee, you have a question for us. That
I
you did
do
not-
have.
I'd like to point out you did not prompt us with this.
I
one
did
before.
not. So I figure what I'm gonna do. Sometimes I will prompt
Put us
you,
on the spot.
and sometimes I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah.
You'll never know. Well, actually, you will know.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
having a
definitely
reptile dysfunction over here with my microphone.
Jen says I have that all the time.
Just think about Batman.
Right. Well, if you tighten that knob right there, Brian.
Oh, I like tightening knobs.
Wrong
so
knob.
much.
Oh,
Oh, this one here.
you gotta do the black one.
There
Do
we
you
go.
like,
I'm
do you
good.
like black knobs?
Well, yeah, occasionally.
Okay.
They were
So
G rating.
yeah.
Wait, we have a G rating. Oh my
We-
god.
Fuck, there it went.
So anyway, so tonight's question is going to be this: who is your favorite fill-in hero? Now, in case you don't understand what that means, I will explain it to you, Brian, because you're looking kind of confused.
No, I'm happy because this is like my favorite thing on earth.
Okay, well then I don't need to explain it.
Not to me, but maybe to the other fellas.
I know who you're talking
I
about.
want you understand.
You know what?
complicated-
Because sometimes we tend not to agree on what you mean. I would say, sure, explain what you mean.
Okay, so for instance, I'm going to just go ahead and give my example before you take it. And he is not my favorite.
You have a tattoo of it.
He's also holding the Batman cowl. It was a significant moment in Batman's life at that point.
It was, so it was right.
I never said DC was right on everything they do.
All right, that's true.
Okay.
Go on. Stop interrupting.
So anyway, for me, my favorite fill-in is actually Dick Grayson when he filled in for Batman when Batman was shot by the Omega Beams from Darkseid.
Back in time.
Back in time. So Dick Grayson as Batman for
that
me
is a great.
is my favorite. And personally, I always felt, even back then in, was it the 90s when they did the Dark Knight, not Dark Knight, when the Knight's End and all that, I really felt that Dick Grayson should have been Batman. And I was really pissed off with DC that they put Jean-Paul Vallée as the goddamn Batman.
Agreed.
But then as I read it, I'm like, and then as you find out what transpires at the end, it was like, okay, this is good. This is a good story. And you know what? Not everybody deserves to wear the mantle of the Bat. And some people, when they do get the mantle of the Bat, they go fucking nuts.
True.
Now, he was fucking nuts before. And by the way, this new Azrael guy, I don't like him as much as I did Jean-Paul Vallée. They need to bring Jean-Paul Vallée back. Michael, yeah.
Oh yeah.
They need to bring Jean-Paul Vallée back.
It's weird that they don't even reference it. I guess
No.
it's just something they're kind of just leaving, like as a maybe a happy thing.
Yeah, well, now with the new 50, well, the post-convergence, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
I didn't know there was a new Azrael guide, and then I haven't read the bad books.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But that was even pre-52, wasn't it?
yeah. I think it was.
So maybe he doesn't even exist.
Maybe. I don't. Maybe we can get it.
That book's so much shit. So that's the one I used to work with, like at the other.
Yeah,
Golden Eagle. You can mention.
No, I know.
We do not call them the other comic book store.
I used to work at Golden Eagle, and that book's
Golden Eagle Comics and Cards.
located at 350 North 5th Street Highway.
They're in the Fairgrounds Mall.
Yeah,
Well,
The
they're not
dead
local.
yeah, the Dead Mall, right?
The dirt mall.
So anyway, that is my answer to my question and my example for you.
A great example.
I know.
I have
We
two
didn't say you get to go.
that I love equally as much.
Okay. Well, first off, you're going equally as much. This is not equal.
Like he's
Equals
weighing
like
the
this.
options.
Equally as much Artemis as
No.
Wonder Woman, Hippolyta as Wonder Woman.
I was thinking you were gonna go Artemis.
Artemis or Wonder
Not
Woman.
that.
or-
Troy.
No, she was only Wonder Woman for like 10 minutes when Alan Heinberg was writing the book, and it only lasted for like 4 issues.
Okay, that's a little more than 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, true. That's like 4 months. I never really cared for her as Wonder Woman because I loved her so much as who she was. You know what I mean? As Wonder Girl, as Troya. But Artemis, oh man, those issues. It was William Messner Loebs, and it was Mike Deodato, and it was the late 90s, like when they introduced Artemis, and she was part of the Von Amygdala tribe. Artemis is Hippolyta's sister, Antiope. She took her whole tribe, and they broke off from the Amazons early on, and so they did a whole new contest because Hippolyta had a vision of Wonder Woman dying, and she was afraid that it was her daughter who was dying. So she contrived this whole big plot where Diana kind of got fired by the Amazons as Wonder Woman, and they had a new contest, and Artemis won, and she became Wonder Woman. And ironically, it was actually Artemis who died as Wonder Woman. She was killed by the White Magician. And when Diana found out everything that went down, she got pissed. Like, she didn't talk to Hippolyta for a long time after that. And then Hippolyta as Wonder Woman, John Byrne did that later around issue 130 of Volume 2. I'm not a Wonder Woman fan or anything.
No.
I'm surprised you didn't get the omnibus.
You
I did.
were quoting issue numbers
You
like
did it for
religious
me.
people quote
I'm
Bible verses.
Yeah.
I know.
Wait, you got that fucking thing with Amazon points?
Yeah.
You could have gotten it through me.
I know.
With
Amazon points, you
just told
motherfucker.
me that Bob
Points
got
means
it.
he doesn't have to pay it.
Yeah, I was free. It was basically free.
Really? And how? Well, let's just say, how does that process work? I think we've gone over this on this podcast before.
I know. I didn't think you would have it. I didn't. But I'll have to check everything now.
You know, you could
This
just
was
simply.
I pre-ordered this months ago, way
Right.
before you and I had that discussion.
Right, you could have just, asked me, Lee, I need to use my
I
Amazon
know.
points.
I know. Well, like I said, this is way. I had that thing pre-ordered for months and months and months.
Oh, Faith actually answered.
What did she say?
There's a shock. Brian went with something Wonder Woman related.
She doesn't
Yeah.
She doesn't
I
very
think
well.
she's tired of you.
She probably, can you blame her?
She wants something new. You need to reinvent yourself.
Probably. It's hard to do in your mid 40s.
Oh, I think. Sorry, I just realized my answer. I'm like, dumbass. I just
Guy
realized.
Gardner doesn't count.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
I've talked about it a number of times.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
Oh, I was just going to say then, John Byrne later retroactively made Hippolyta the Wonder Woman of World War II. She got tired of being the queen of Themyscira. She's like, I'm so bored with this shit. So she came to man's world, as the Amazons call it, and started, playing Wonder Woman. When Wonder Woman herself, Diana, died, and she became the goddess of truth, and she went up to Mount Olympus. And while that was going on, Hippolyta became Wonder Woman on Earth. And then she went back in time with Jay Garrick to World War II and retroactively became the Wonder Woman of World War II, which then retroactively inspired her daughter to become, it's amazing. John Byrne is brilliant, and I've said that many times. But anyway, she would be my close second. No, they're equal. Artemis,
I gotta
Hippolyta as Wonder Woman, they're equal. Kyle.
It was a few issue run right after Civil War, after Cap died, when Punisher took up the Captain America.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
When
He was
he
in,
when he had the red, white, and blue suit, but then the Punisher's skull instead of the star,
Right.
and it was just awesome. I think
That's
that
right.
was.
Forgot
I know.
about that.
I know Ariel Olivetti was the artist. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it was Matt Fraction was the writer on during that time.
Okay.
But yeah, it might have been Punisher War Journal. It was Punisher War Journal.
Okay.
It was
Yeah,
either
it was
either
Journal because
yeah.
it was when Ariel, what is his name? Ariel
Olivetti.
Olivetti did the art. Yeah.
Yeah, Olivetti did the art, and I'm pretty sure it was Matt Fraction because it was
So
before.
Fraction and Remender. It's
I
probably
think it was Fraction because Remender took over after that, and then Remender turned into the fucking Frankencastle.
that's what
If you've listened to any of our podcasts,
You know, the
you
Kyle.
know
Not
I
approved.
wonder-
my
You know what?
disdain.
I do want to read that. You know why? I've heard it's a love letter to like the Marvel horror stuff.
I don't care. It's fucking Frankencastle. But yeah, so Punisher fill in for Captain America for a few issues.
I did not
And
know
Punisher
that.
War Journal. That is my favorite.
Well, I was actually gonna go with. I thought Lee was gonna choose Azabeth. I was gonna choose Dick Grayson. I will go with. I think this is the right version of Our Man.
Can I say, just because I picked something doesn't mean you can't like
Well, how about this? Since that was my pick, but I'll go with a close second. It was
This is why I did it for you.
it was the Android version of Our Man from after DC 1 Million. That series
didn't
was
like
just a
that.
lot. I don't know. It was fun. They brought back Snapper Carr from the old Justice Society. He was like his right hand man, and then he ends up turning on him at one point. And thing. It was a lot. It was a cool series. It only lasted like 40 issues. They never collected it, and I got it a couple years ago. The whole run over in it was the Wild Pig Con in New Jersey. It's a really good series.
Don't you hate when you have a series and you never collect it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'd like to have it so I could read, like, or potentially get other people to
They
read.
collected the fucking trade, and then they fucking never reissued the bitch. Like, Tom Bailey.
That was a problem actually with the Hellblazer trades for a
They
while.
do like 6 printing of Power Rangers.
They did, but I kept going out of print. He's right. Like,
I know it kept going out of print, but like it's not like they did one print ever of it and that was it.
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't
they
matter
did
what
one
print
print.
it is. It's
Yeah.
gonna run you 60 to 80 bucks right now.
I'm so happy.
But
to buy
it's
that one.
weird because it's one of those stories that people recommend, but DC themselves recommends.
I recommend it.
Like,
Yeah,
and
but
that's
they
like,
don't sell.
that makes the sense.
And they make a fucking movie about it.
Yeah.
Kind of.
You know, they should just put it out like $140.
Or 60.
Do a deluxe hardcover or something, just put it out.
You know what?
Yeah.
It might at this point it might be reprint. They started reprinting the whole Morrison JLA thing, and that comes right after that, the Mark Waid. So that actually may be reprinted, just not as elegant or bad. But you're right. It's much easier just to say, "Hey, take this trade." I do that.
I gotta tell you, if I could do anything with my store right now, I really would. I would put larger bookshelves in, or maybe so much. Scratch that. I wouldn't even put bookshelves. No, scratch that. I would take all this stuff, like my pop figures and stuff like that, and I would put them in the center of the store, and I would put trades on the wall.
Just line on the wall.
You can't do that at your store.
I know I can do it. I'm just simply
Cost.
saying, cost effective wise, it's not like it's the best.
Also, you need some other than that damn slat wall.
It's a good point though, because then it would force people.
Because just a little bit of some weight with those Warhammer books tears that out of the wall.
No, that's like if we were to go back on the slat wall that I put in, I bought the good shit, and the people that were here before bought the cheap shit. So yeah,
So instead of another one, it's not that great. It was just kind of fun. They're kind of cool. When Murdoch Daredevil was in jail, there was another Daredevil running around, and it turned out to be Iron Fist. That was really.
Black Panther was Daredevil, or no, he wasn't Daredevil.
Yeah, you're right. He was. Well, there was a series called Black Panther: The Man Without Fear.
Fear, right? But he wasn't Daredevil. He was still Black Panther.
Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't read that. You're
I
right.
didn't either.
The other one I was thinking of, I don't know if he ever actually was the Mantle, but I know Bid Ray Bill filled in for Thor, but I don't think he never called himself Thor.
Yeah.
So like I don't think
Yeah.
that would have counted. But like I just remember Bid Ray Bill filling in, taking Thor's place, but he was still Beta Ray Bill.
Right.
Well, our only
Our guys.
viewer who actually decided to chime in,
Yes.
which is Faith.
Yes.
Faith actually says, and I quote, "Not sure if you would totally consider this a valid answer." And by the way, I do.
Okay.
Looking at you,
But I like it when Bucky is Captain America. That is a prime
Yes.
example.
Prime.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Why wouldn't that count?
And he
Well,
rocked.
because sometimes
So
you're
I'm
a
an
little
asshole,
negative.
just say
Yeah,
it.
you're an asshole.
I can see the argument
No, that's a great
because he became
Fuck, I can't
for an
believe I didn't think of
extended period. I was thinking about that too.
Max
but I
Tyler.
wasn't
Tyler.
really
What the
sure.
fuck was I
But he ended up being a cap for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So
He's still.
people may not look at that as a fill-in, but I definitely
He's
count
definitely
I
filling in.
definitely
Because
count
it
that.
Steve came back.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Steve came back. It was Steve Rogers.
Like
Super
right now,
Soldier. He
I
wasn't Captain
You
America.
can
Yeah,
consider
yeah,
the Falcon
eventually.
a fill-in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you know they're gonna go back.
Right.
We all know that he's going to go back to being white.
It's weird because I've always heard that.
And Phil's going to be happy.
Cap will go back to being white. Sam will not.
But it's weird because you always hear when you go back
That you
never
can
go
change.
back.
Yeah.
They are because they're cops.
Just saying, you can change that.
So that was a good example.
That
That was
Right, yeah.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. He was a great Captain America too.
Yeah, that was better. Than, I like that answer better than I did that Wonder Woman answer.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, do we have anything else to talk about?
Yeah, we're done.
We're done. All right.
We have previews. Do you want me to do that or weekly roundup?
Weekly roundup.
Weekly roundup.
Come on, Brian.
We decided that I'm going to discuss
Oh, I
this.
thought you were supposed to say
Weekly
weekly roundup.
roundup. Unity is being canceled.
Yes, but let's talk about the final issue of Unity.
So number 25, it's going to be like a triple-sized issue.
More importantly,
It's going to be humorous.
right.
And they're getting all kinds of even comedians who have never written comic books before are going
People
to be.
from The Daily Show,
Yeah.
The Nightly Show,
As
The Late
long
Show,
as-
and Tom Sharpling.
As
Yeah.
long as they make some sort of Ginger doesn't have a soldier.
Yes. Even if it's going to be one of those. So I'm sad that Unity is ending, but yet Valiant is so awesome that I know that it's going to be replaced by something equally cool.
We have
Yeah.
another viewer.
Like Shadowman.
We do, and his name is Phil.
Fuck you, Phil.
Is that Phil or
It is that Phil, and that Phil says, "Yes, I will be happy." I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Captain America?
Phil is watching us.
Oh, Captain America. Are you talking about Captain America, Phil?
I'm sure that's what he means.
Okay. All right, so moving on.
Yeah, that was the
I'm
only
still
news I
pissed.
had.
I
Anyone
never
else
got
have
that
any?
Phil photo covered.
Oh.
I wanted to get that from Phil so bad. I'm really looking forward to Comic Con.
There you go.
It's a Christmas present.
Any news that you want to talk
Oh yes, I want to talk to news. Jimmy Palmiotti posted a link on his Twitter that linked to a story. I think it was like Rainbow or something. It was like a LGBT and whatever the other letters are to everybody
Q
else.
something, yeah.
But that saying that there in the future there's going to be a Harley Quinn bi-monthly series where it's going to be co-written by Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti. It's going to be drawn by Amanda Conner, and it's going to be her teaming up with other superheroes or other people from the DC universe. And the first issue will be her and Wonder Woman.
Oh, very cool.
And of
So
course,
Faith, something for both of us.
so while it's like okay, Harley's getting another book, it further put me in it put me in the rage zone because as I've been saying for months and months and months, they're trying to make Harley Quinn Deadpool.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
Deadpool, when Deadpool was getting to its peak of popularity, they put out Deadpool Team Up, and this is going to be called Harley Quinn's Little Black Book. And it's just like really,
Yeah.
this will be the third Harley title.
You know, I would rather see that
But
book
yeah, that's
if it's called.
I'm happy if Amanda wasn't drawing it. I don't know if I'd get it.
I'll at least get the first issue.
Well,
definitely.
Here's my thought process. If they're going to call it Harley's Little Black Book, I would rather see about Harley's sexual exploits with DC superheroes.
Yeah. The reason
Harley
that
talk
the
right
reason
now.
that the reason it was on that website was because right now
He doesn't want to acknowledge my
I'm not acknowledging that. Because actually part of my answer is going to acknowledge that. So
Right.
the reason it was on that website is because currently throughout the new the current Harley Quinn run and just like the one shots they've done, it's Harley Quinn is in a very open relationship with Poison Ivy.
Oh, that's right.
So
She's
it's
bisexual.
we're all because there was all that there was
It's one of them. They're bisexual.
but like she just hasn't I forget the exact word but it's just completely it's not monogamous. If they can do whatever they want with
It's an
anybody,
open-
it's an
open
open,
relationship,
but
yeah.
they are still
She
they
can
are
make other
still
leaves if
lovers.
you would,
Yeah.
Oh.
She can example other twigs or
Oh,
My
other
God.
bushes. But yeah, it's so that's why it was on the site because with all the quote unquote controversy over the Hercules isn't going to be bisexual or whatever. You have a bisexual character that people aren't acknowledging. So
Okay.
people like everybody knows Harley Quinn, but they don't know that the current relationship status is she is currently in a relationship with a woman.
They've been up for a time? Or
Yes,
just-
yeah.
oh,
I
remember you saying that.
The first time it was like innuendo and implied,
Yeah.
but basically they have come out and said that they are in a type of relationship. So it's well as that like I said, because it's drawn by Amanda, I will read because I.
Is every issue drawn by her?
That's what it said,
Okay.
and that's why they're doing it bi-monthly because
Is that a
Palmiotti
joke?
actually
Because she's buying it.
no
Okay.
Palmiotti acknowledged that he wanted to do it that way because he didn't want to oversaturate with Harley. So basically, this will probably end up coming out right after Harley Quinn and Power Girl end.
Okay.
So there still will only be 2 titles, but because it's bi-monthly, it's not 2 Harley Quinn books every month. Pick them up. They have that, but that'll also allow more time for Amanda not to get behind.
It's crazy though. Like, as I know you don't like the direction of all this stuff, but like, it's kind of cool that they're like she's so popular now that she can just think she got 2 books on the show.
Yeah.
If they weren't giving her the Deadpool treatment, yes.
I'm just saying it
Because it was cool when Deadpool had 2 books. Then it was kind of cool when Deadpool had 3 books. And then it sucked when Deadpool had like 6 books.
Right.
Remember her book got canceled, like, what was it, 14 years ago now, maybe less? Like, when her book got canceled, she couldn't even, like, they couldn't even do 1 book with her without it getting canceled.
It's because the first half of that book was so good and the second half was so awful.
Or maybe it's because she didn't reach that level of popularity that she had now.
I don't know, man. She's always been pretty popular, though.
But not anywhere
No, of
near
course
where she is now.
now. I feel like
Yeah. Well, also now comics are mainstream again. They were mainstream back in the '90s. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
I just remember watching Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when they had the scene filmed in Secret Stash and on the wall. And it's Harley Quinn. I think it's issue 6 where it's like her and versus the Riddler. And I was like, I have that issue.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's from the original series. That was my news. So Harley Quinn's getting another title. But
Speaking of that, this is not comics related at all. It's local and it's Kevin Smith related.
Oh yes.
Chris is actually the other Chris who's not here.
Strike Master.
Strike Master. I don't know how I missed this. He told us about it. Kevin Smith will be filming Mallrats 2 at the Exton Square Mall.
In January.
Yeah, we're thinking about putting the shop in there.
That's a good idea.
yeah, he's like, we should probably open a comic shop in that mall right now.
Get it for January. Yeah, man.
And Kevin, you're looking great. Congratulations on losing 100 pounds. Just put that in there.
So does he have to change the name of the podcast?
Yeah, I know, right?
Fat man on that.
Fat Man on Batman.
Former fat man on Batman.
A great podcast if you don't already listen to it.
Yeah.
It is good. I enjoy it myself.
It's steered away from the interviews now. It's more just talk about pop culture and comics. All right. Weekly roundup. Do we have any other news? Or
Well, I
we have a
kind of
retailer
do.
corner.
Well, I don't have retail corner, but I have other news.
All right. What's your
Okay.
news? Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Old school, bitch.
Demented old fool.
So,
Say, oh my
I'm not
God.
sure if anybody knows the
They
character,
got the fucking hair checked.
right? Well, are you familiar with Rebecca Ferguson?
I'm sorry.
Rebecca Ferguson.
I don't know.
She was in the latest Mission Impossible movie.
Which
No.
role did she play? Was she the
Was she the
female
main
lead?
girl?
Yeah. Okay, then I am familiar with her.
Was she the
Okay.
guy on the plane who looked
Well,
suspiciously
anyway,
like Tom
Marvel
Cruise?
now allegedly has their eye on her for.
And
Oh.
No more
Q,
Ronda.
Q angry Ronda Rousey posted 3, 2, 1.
That would be good.
But yeah, I mean,
I don't know who this is, so I have no idea.
she's a good actress.
Yeah, she is. She did good in the movie. I enjoyed
She
the
did
movie.
fun with the action. She did good with the action scene.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'd fuck her.
With someone else's dick.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
That's a good one.
That's good. I liked it. I liked it. I liked it.
I like it. Like it.
I thought she was
Yes, sir.
good.
I do like it.
I do.
Don't know who she is. I like it.
I like it. I like it very much.
The satisfaction right off the chair.
So yeah, but in all honesty, I don't have really any retailer news. Sorry.
No, it's
There's
okay.
100 variant
Always wanna
for
keep that.
Batman Reborn.
We already knew about that.
Well, if you didn't know, if you're not watching, we do record this at a retail store. It's called One of Collectibles. We've mentioned it a few times.
Yes.
Hi, I work here.
We might have mentioned it before.
West Lawn, Pennsylvania. West Reading, Pennsylvania, 19601. I keep saying West Lawn, that's where I live.
I live in West Reading.
What's your exact address? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's right. I need to update my address.
So we can do that on air.
Yeah, let's do that, please. So we have my old address and my new address. So if you need to claim that you're me, you can have full proof.
Last for your social, please.
So why don't we go to previews?
Preview review.
I will go first because Strike.
Strike Master
Toy
is
Master.
not here.
Whatever, you're a master or something.
Baiting.
Toy Master and I will be sharing the same previews book.
I think in your face should share the same fate as my young children friends.
I haven't said
If
something.
you haven't listened to that episode, Lee once told the story about how he broke some kid's face for doing something to stretch on.
Yes.
I was going a whole different direction on that one.
Oh, are you talking about my friends with Jared?
Essentially, Kurt stopped him on a sink. If I remember with your hand.
Alright, so the first I'll get the little book out of the way first. The first thing I'm gonna talk about is on page 38 and 39 of the Marvel preview book. Yeah, that little Marvel preview book. It's Carnage number 1 and 2, written by Jerry Conway, art by Mike Perkins.
I was gonna say, okay, so that's not by the same team that did that awesome series that we really liked.
No, it's not the same team, but I really want to.
Gary Conway's a great writer.
Hercules looked really gay.
Was that?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We were hoping, but no. Marvel had other
Sorry, and
plans.
again, because I was kind of talking over Kyle there. Carnage number 1 and 2 is on page 38.
And that's the first thing I'm looking forward to. I was been looking forward to that since they came out. They announced that there was going to be an individual Carnage book.
Okay.
Were you always a fan of Carnage, or was it just because that recent series?
I really like that recent series. I've always liked the character, but I never really read a lot of the character.
Is it still what's the cast name? The cast? Can you really explain that? I remember there was some series they took him out into space and tore him in half, and he came back. I don't remember. I mean, it's comic books. I always.
Is Carnage still Cletus Cassidy?
But I just asked.
I was reading actually I think something big is happening in the world of Star Wars that was just announced because one of my nerd friends from work just messaged me about YouTube and Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I apologize.
No, it's all right. I'm sorry I called you.
No, it's covered.
I'm not.
I'm into it. I'm totally into it.
The next thing I'm going to talk about is on page 216 in the image section. Ringside number 1, comic about professional wrestling.
Rest.
Written by Joe Keating and art by Nick Barber and Simon Gao.
I never know how to pronounce that name.
Gouge.
One of the people involved in the Gotham TV show has that last name, and I don't know how do you even.
It's just to be. It's
It's gonna get into the politics. Like
politics.
they're not gonna
everything.
try to say like they're really fighting. It's gonna be like what happens behind.
Yeah, what happens behind the scenes and everything like that. So I'm really looking forward to that because I am a wrestling fan, as are some of the other people on the podcast.
Not me.
Master.
Not I.
You used to be though, because you pulled out some Coco Beware references. I find pretty impressive.
All right, maybe in my younger years when I was growing up, and I got to go to the Hamburg Firehouse and meet like George the Animal Steel and all those guys. Yeah, that was cool.
I love looking at muscle bears in bikinis, but I just can't sit through it.
Now you said you have Randy Orton as your
He's hot.
Randy Orton's your
Oh,
specter background.
Yeah, he's my new
I
crush.
think I really stopped
Look at
watching
Prince David
wrestling.
or Finn Balor. I think you'd like him.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
There was a tag team group called Chronic.
Brian Rath,
Yeah.
Brian Adams, and Brian. I can't remember his name, but it was
a
Rath.
WCW.
Oh, and then yeah, it was WCW.
Yeah,
When WCW got bought out, when WWE bought WCW, they brought him over for a little bit to try to have a feud with the Brothers of Destruction, and it failed horribly. I actually saw them wrestle at Reading. It was like the only time they were around.
I liked WCW. Matter of fact, when WCW was around, I liked it. I enjoyed it. And I'm like,
It was Crush and Atom Bomb
yeah.
formed the tag team.
Yeah. And I just didn't like it when it went back to WWE. It was, you know,
What, you didn't like it when they got the F out?
Where?
That was fucking cool.
I have
Okay.
a shirt that says "Get the F out."
How do I approach it? Like, as a viewer watching it, how do I approach this?
Like a soap opera.
yeah.
Okay, so it's like all right.
It is a male soap
Look
opera.
at it like an athletic soap opera.
And
Okay.
that it's choreographed, and that they are, while it's choreographed, they're doing amazing things with their bodies. It is really
Yes.
like, you know, it's
Yeah.
hard. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It has to be
it's
rehearsed.
while the ending is predetermined, shit still hurts.
Right,
And I don't know
right.
if we ever talked about this on the podcast, and if he doesn't want people to know, we can edit it out. But Kyle used to
Actually, we can't edit Live.
we're live.
It doesn't. Yes, I used to be professional wrestling. Yes, that is awesome. So yeah,
It is.
Anyone that tells me it's fake, I have the concussions and knee problems to
Prove
to
it.
show them
Yeah,
that it's
prove
not fake.
otherwise. Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. That's
Sorry.
That's the second thing I want to talk about. The third thing I want to talk about is in the green section, but technically the navy blue, page 404. It's by Titan. It's like a hardcover. It's Alien Next Door in space. No one can hear you clean. And it is the actual. It's the xenomorph from the Alien movie.
I love it.
I see a new caring side of the legendary science fiction monster, from facehuggers to feather dusters. Discover how the perfect killing machine relaxes after a day of scaring space marines.
Man, Titan is really buying up a lot of like properties that
Yeah,
are
they are.
And another solicit I saw for it is like if you're a fan of the Alien and like the Alien franchise,
Oh god,
there's gonna be a lot of like little Easter eggs and throw-in jokes and things that you'll laugh about that you'll catch your eye, and it's just one of those that, like I saw it and I'm like I have to get it. I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise. I'm actually getting 2 copies, one for me, one for my friend.
You didn't get the Dark Horse stuff.
I didn't like the actual comics. This is cool.
This is a like
This is
like
like
a
a
little
little,
but like it's goofy.
Yeah, like I looked
Yeah.
at this along the lines of like Goodnight Vader, like
Yeah.
or Goodnight, that
Yeah.
type of thing. It just looks like a fun little jokey book that it's only $14.95. It's 80 pages.
Gotta love that.
Look, there's a little kitty cat rubbing
Yeah.
herself
Yeah.
on its legs.
But still, 80 pages, $15.
Aw.
Now, unlike Alf, this alien does not catch, right?
Yeah. Well, you never know.
That's
I mean, it did impregnate.
A
It
dog.
did take over a dog in Alien 3.
Okay. I think I saw it.
And if it does, get away from her, you bitch! See what I did there?
Which one has the singing alien that sings the song?
That's
Element?
Spaceballs. But it's still John Hurt.
That's true. That's right, it is.
Oh no, not again. But yeah, so those are my 3, and like I said, I'm really looking forward to that Alien Next Door book.
Okay.
Thank you. I got a Marvel, even though there's something in it that, well, I like some things in it. It's just not. Yeah. Right. Who's going?
I'll go.
Okay, good.
Because we're talking about wrestling. I'm gonna go. It's on page 501. I'm going to be jumping around here, guys, so be ready. 501 of your new previews.
You killed like 4 trees in the highlighting of your.
You know why I do that? It's
Why?
because
It's a lot of books.
There's a lot.
Because even though I don't order all this stuff, it makes like I'll remember that it exists and I can order it later if I want to order it or something. I don't think I've ever done that. So yeah, I'm just killing trees here. So it's on page 501. It's the Andre the Giant pop vinyl. It's his WWE attire, as one would think. He has the little sideburns and everything, the very the goofy hair. He just looks. I think these things are really cute. I like
One-sided singlet.
the one-sided singlet, yep, from his classic like Hulk Hogan hair.
From his classic villain run.
Yes, Bill. After his hair was cut. To keep that up with Wrestling and Andre the Giant, there's a new Andre the Giant graphic novel called Andre the Giant: Closer to Heaven. Now, I want to bring this up for 2 reasons. I am going to read it. I just think it's odd that, like, there's Ringside coming out, but there was recently, I reviewed it on the show. It's called Andre the Giant: Life and Legend. It was by Box Brown. It just came out like last year. I don't know why another team feels the need already to tackle his life. I mean, he's an interesting character, and like I said, I'm going to read it, but like, why not do another? If you're going to do wrestling, why not look at another wrestler?
Like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Well, not right now.
Or Randy
Actually,
Orton.
yes. Right now would be a good time.
Do you think so? What's
Absolutely.
going on with him? Do you
Absolutely.
know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Where he's actually been struck from the WWE Hall of Fame.
Do you know why?
Yes, because he made a racial slur.
Yes. Which is weird because it's on
Which
a
I
video
think
that's
is
been out for
complete
years.
utter bullshit.
Yeah, because it almost seems like they only did it because people were complaining. Because
Yes.
the video has been public for years.
Yes. And you know what?
That's why they
Even
do a
if
lot of
he
things.
did it today, I don't care because it doesn't take away from anything he's done.
To act like he didn't exist is ridiculous.
Exactly.
It's
Not like he raped a small child.
even and
Why is it either he's racist or he thinks
I'm just saying.
He's not like a Subway spokesperson.
He's not a
Yes,
Subway
that's-
spokesperson, but I'm just saying.
my
Yeah.
thing it goes back to the handling of the Chris Benoit thing. The Chris Benoit situation. It was
If you don't know who Chris was, I'm not going to. He
killed his
murdered
wife.
his family. Yeah,
Allegedly.
his kid.
allegedly.
Yes.
Oh my god.
There,
They
After-
found bruises on the kid's face that even didn't they
Yeah,
indicate that he did hit the crippler crossface on him?
Oh my god.
I don't know if that was true.
No, I know. But
Yeah, it was just
There-
one of the
yeah.
way that their way of handling it was to strike any record of him existing to the point where
they cut him out of matches like on DVD releases. And
yeah,
stuff.
like
Oh, wow.
they took his matches out. Now they have since put it back in. Like they're still in there. But when they go over their records and things like that,
Yeah,
it's he won the 2004 Royal Rumble, which is a big like battle royal that they have, and it's just like stricken from the record. They don't make any mention that he won it. It's just like, in 2004, this somebody won.
It was never proved that he killed his family.
It was assumed, but there are some inconsistencies with how they found out that it might have been murder, and made
Oh.
to look like it was a murder suicide on his part. So there's a lot of like gray area with it, but the prevailing theory is he did kill him.
There's a lot about wrestling.
Yeah, a lot of
And
wrestling.
here's the other thing I have to say about Hulk Hogan. What he said, even though I don't agree with it, he still has the right to free speech. And it's not like he hurt somebody. He didn't physically hurt anybody.
What did he say?
I don't know the exact. I'm not gonna. He on a sex tape that was released, he said a derogatory word.
Did you say a sex tape?
Yeah, there's a Hulk Hogan sex
There's
tape.
a
Yeah.
whole controversy.
Yeah, my head is spinning. I'm trying to keep up
He
here.
made a comment. Brooke, who's his daughter, was dating, I guess, an African gentleman, and so you can assume what word.
Oh, okay.
And he said something like that. He said that, but now that came out like that's been public
It's been
for
out
years,
years.
and because I guess recently it got like a bunch of
But
publicity.
it doesn't matter.
Now they erased him.
He has the right to free speech. And I understand the company has a right to do what they did too.
Right.
You
That's
have
gonna be the
you have a right to free speech. It doesn't exonerate your action. It doesn't exonerate you from any
Right.
the guilt in the public eye.
Well, what's
Correct.
weird now is they have something called the WWE Network where you can watch old things. I don't think they can cut them out of that, right? Because
Well, yeah, they're not going to cut him out of pay-per-views, but they took off like Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. They took off
Yeah,
his documentary,
which they just started uploading.
Yeah, they just started putting it up there, and I wanted to watch it.
Wow.
That was an old cartoon. Do you remember that at all? It was called
I
Rock-
vaguely yes. Yes, I do.
All right. So the last thing I'll pick before I put us on another wrestling tangent is on page 469. It is I believe it's Darwin Cook. It's either Darwin Cook or like a similar artist. It's a T-shirt. Batman Nightwatch. He has the old purple gloves. It's just really cool. I'm gonna get it. So those are my picks. 2 Andre the Giant, 1 Batman.
Wait, what page?
469. It is right there.
Oh, okay. That's 468. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. 468.
Hence my confusion.
Oh, can't look left.
No, I can't look left.
You're just
I can't look left. Oh,
Do you have your picks?
yes. Okay. My first pick is page 2. And let me just say, I'm not doing anything by Valiant. I'm very proud of myself.
Runner up though, Eternal Warrior #1 coming up this month.
Runner up. So page 248, our friends at Action Lab. I just want to plug Actionverse 0, which is the very beginning of their shared superhero universe.
That's gonna be cool.
Yes, I am super excited about this. So that's my #1 pick, Actionverse 0. It literally says it is the birth of the Action Lab universe. And it says, be a part of the largest creator-owned crossover that the publishing world has ever seen. No publisher has ever dared, let alone successfully brought together, the creative minds and properties of over 20, count them, 20 different creators together to create one single and unified Actionverse.
And that's like when I was thinking about wait, that's not true. And I'm like, you know what it is? Because
It is.
Valiant's not creator owned.
Correct.
So that's what really sets it apart.
Yeah.
Because they all individually own the rights. That's cool.
It's very cool.
Let's make it hell enough for like how they're gonna pay the recon.
I was
How
gonna
that's
say,
gonna work.
I wonder what licensing they're going to get
Yeah.
out of that. But
Then on page 286, Grant Morrison, we have a love-hate relationship, Grant and I. He knows that.
Well, I think everybody kind of does.
Everybody kind of does. But this looks like his good stuff.
Yeah.
He is treating Santa Claus as like a fictional action hero.
He kind of looks like the Eternal Warrior.
Kind of looks like the Eternal, very
Yeah,
much
it
so.
does.
Not kind of,
It's got
very
the
much
beard.
looks like the Eternal Warrior. It looks actually kind of hot. And this is about his origin before he becomes Santa Claus and basically how he gains all of his magic powers.
I never like. I have no idea what the lore is either. This is all new to me.
What?
Actually, I know the lore.
I think he's making it up.
There's actually a.
I mean, Saint Nicholas stuff. Like
No. It goes back to the early
Yeah.
80s, mid 80s, I think. And there is a cartoon. Cartoon.
The movie Pacific.
Address that in the back of the book, and I will get to that once I'm done with my review. So we start out in the year 32,000 BC with a caveman running for his life, and he stops and looks over his shoulder and gets impaled by a couple spears. People. It's,
How many issues they put out? Three.
I'm hoping
It's the same thing. I'm sorry, 2, 3 issues.
it's the
But
same
Red
thing,
came
but
out
it's
early.
but it's 3 issues. This has been the shortest issue. The first one was
It's still
2
3
issues.
issues, though.
I know.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
At least with Saga, they go between 6 to 12 issues.
Yeah,
And then,
That's true.
and then they take a
Saga's
break.
at least 6 issues and takes a break, and I
It
get
seems like
that.
they get a whole arc in.
Yeah.
But I
right.
also agree with this. Like the difference is this they had it. They had the idea. They know what they want to do with it, but because of other projects and everything, they don't have the time to get it done. But they're going to come back to it.
Yeah.
I'm a little
Then
more.
you start a project and you have enough where,
He-
like Saga does, where you have enough to actually put out a trade to keep the consumer interested. So that way, after
this
it comes
will
back,
be a trade. These 3 issues, I guarantee you, will be a trade because it's 4 to 5 issues worth of content
Yeah, because
in 3 issues. The first 2 issues were oversized.
I guess what he's saying too. What they could have done was cut
They
up
could
the
have
other
broke
ones.
that up into 5 issues and spread it out,
It would
but
have
they
been coming
didn't.
out until November then, or
But it is a risk, and I hope it works. Because
Yeah, I mean,
I
the
really
art is
enjoyed
beautiful.
the book, and the artwork is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
who's the artist again?
Ryan Bodenheim.
Awesome.
Dying of the Dead 3. I'm sure it'll be out in trade soon.
Well, my first book is going to be Daredevil number 18. Now, originally, Strike Master was going to review this, and he did want to just. In his message, he essentially said that he loved this run. Because this is the end
This is the end.
of the Mark Waid. Sorry, of the Mark Waid, Chris Sabney run. Matthew Wilson, 2 different colors. It's been a good one, guys.
It's been amazing.
And so good. Get the trade, please.
Yeah, they really are.
It's so good. For some reason, Daredevil isn't a character that
I wasn't prior to this either, and I got totally hooked.
fan. Big fan. Me too.
Yes.
It's not a mutant. So what happens here is, in the last few issues, Daredevil's identity, he outed himself as Matt Murdock. He told everybody, and that was all his clients. Someone had been secretly filming all his clients while they were talking to him at their office, so that was made public. So they're all mad. His life is essentially in tattered ruins, and now Fisk is trying to make it even worse. He went to Fisk to hopefully to solve the problem, and instead Fisk kind of threw it at his face and wanted him to work for him. So he gave him this ultimatum where he had his Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, had Foggy Nelson. He also had Kirsten McDuffie, who was currently Matt's girlfriend, and one other person who I honestly can't remember.
Julia Carpenter.
Julia Carpenter. Thank you very much.
Spider-Woman 2.
Spider-Man 2 is a one.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, she knows.
she had.
She needs to be assumption on the glasses she's wearing.
Yeah.
And
She's gonna be
there is this assassin named Akara who dresses very much like the original Daredevil. Like, essentially, almost looks exactly like the Daredevil.
And he's from an earlier story arc in Mark Waid's.
Where he beat the shit out of Daredevil.
Yes, he
killed
did.
him. So what happened was the Shroud that he was supposed to fight Ikara. If he didn't die, Fisk was going to kill either Foggy or Kirsten. So what he did was the Shroud during their at the end of the other issue, it seemed like Matt had figured out a solution, and then the Shroud, who was another villain slash hero, seems like a great character, killed Akira, so it kind of took that option away from him. So what he did, Matt Murdock put on Akira's outfit, went back to Fisk, and is proclaiming that Murdock and Daredevil were dead. And because the costume looks so similar, they have a similar build, Fisk falls for it first.
Yeah.
So in this issue, he's able to get this close to Fisk without his friends getting murdered. And shortly, just a few moments though, Matt starts talking about Foggy, like about how weak he is, pathetic, and it gets him so mad. He's like this is Matt talking like he killed him, about how Matt begged him. He gets Foggy so mad that he gets up and knocks one of the bodyguards over. And Matt creates a diversion, and then Akira slash Matt throws like this billy club that has I guess it's Akira's weapon, it's not a billy club, it has like that knife up the end.
Yeah.
That Fisk knows that it's Matt Murdock, and this fight gets pretty intense. I mean, there's a lot of, if you like superhero stuff like this comic, like the fights are pretty graphic. Like especially I know I use the word a lot. Like Sammy's art is kind of simple cartoon, but like it's kind of detailed at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like with scenes like this, it really shows like how great of an artist he is, and like how the lettering too. Like I didn't mention this. The lettering is by DC's Joe Carmack, whoever their lead is. Like all the onomatopoeia, which Chris would like if he was here. All the cack and the fan.
Yeah.
Fisk is like beating the crap out of Murdoch. What we find out is that Matt. This is kind of another diversion because Matt had the Shroud release a bunch of videos of Fisk, essentially just doing what happened to Matt to out him as the Kingpin.
Yep.
So now, the authorities come right to.
How many times is the Kingpin going to be outed?
It's happened before.
Yeah.
It has, I guess.
Yeah.
Do they retcon that?
Well, he died. I was reading Daredevil for years, and I remember he died and was working, I think, in South America, like as a crime lawyer there.
Yeah.
And then he came back. I don't even remember how they did that. But I think it had something with Shadowlands, and I stopped reading it.
At that point, I was not reading either.
Anyway, we find like the authorities know where he is. They're coming after him. But, that something's up though, and he's gonna come back when he's free because he says like you should have signed reports and that. Essentially saying like when he's out of jail, he's gonna kill him. And then they tie. What's nice about this too is like Mark Waid goes like they tie kind of almost everything up. Like the Shroud had killed Akira, and he did some other things. I think he's unbalanced, so they actually show him bringing Spider-Woman to fool him, give him a kiss, and knock him out and arrest him. So like everything like that is tied up.
She poisoned her lips or
like
whatever.
poison ivy.
Yeah.
And then it ends with Matt having to make a press conference about all this, just try to move forward with their business. And there's a great scene too where Foggy's eating this horrible food, which they've talked about in previous issues. It's kind of a running joke in the series about how
He always eats unhealthy.
like
And then he turned over a new leaf because of the chemotherapy and the cancer, and now he's back. He's in full remission, so he wants his food back.
And one thing I should point out is, Matt had faked Foggy's death, and that was brought to light too. So he has to talk about that in this conference. And there's this great moment where both Foggy and Kirsten, tell him that he has no fear. And he kind of gets back at them, like, that was the last thing I had was my identity. I gave it to the public so people wouldn't be able to fight. They wouldn't have that on me. I kind of struck first, but now that that's out and you're in danger, there's no real reason for it. He's like, what am I supposed to do? There's nothing good about the situation. And they just they let him know that they're there for him, that he has a strong family / friendship with them, and that they'll move forward with him. And Foggy gives him a hug.
And then I wept.
Yeah.
I did. I lost it.
It was great. And he says, the last line's, I'm not going to say
Oh, that splash.
There's this great two-page splash where he says, I mean, I may not have eyes, but the love of God. Yeah, and he's jumping off the rooftop. Yeah, I mean, yes, he's. But I love that. I like one thing that like in my reviews, and if you don't know, I review books. I want to put books on every week.
And then you post them on Twitter.
I do. I post them on Twitter, and you can retweet them. Thank you. Or that is you, right? That's not Spencer. I never know who it was. All right.
Yes, that is me.
It's the mystery tweeter.
Because at one time I thought Spencer did have access to the no,
He
that's
still
all
has
errors.
access,
Okay. It doesn't matter. What I was going to say was that they really. Was it?
You said so?
So what I was trying to say was this is a character traditionally, at least since Frank Miller was on the character, and especially Bendis, that writers really beat the crap out of, break him down.
Yeah.
Mark Waid had really built him up, and I thought at the end that he was doing like he was breaking him down, and it's while he kind of did here by revealing his identity and everything, he gave him a really strong supporting cast, like stronger than ever. It's like he's leaving in good hands for Charles. So I don't know what direction he has with Gambit. I'm not sure why that's
It's
happening.
not Gambit.
Oh, it's not Gambit? Okay, sorry, it looked like it.
Yeah.
But, this ended really, this is a very strong
Oh,
ending.
so he's not treating Gambit?
Yeah, it's not.
Now, Charles sold, he basically refuted that
Doesn't
on the
look
web nets. Yeah, it looks like him, but it's not him. And he's moving back to New York, which I'm not thrilled about, and it looks like it's taking a darker turn, which I'm not thrilled about. But this run was, for all the reasons that you just said, I never liked Daredevil because he was such a dark character.
Yeah.
But Mark Waid came along and just turned it completely around.
He used the best aspects of both worlds. He took
Yeah.
Silver Age stuff that had been used in years and worked it into, like, the modern day.
Yeah.
Made him more of a, like, he's happy, but he's not happy to the point where it's, like, crazy.
Right.
And
And he downplayed the religious symbolism, which is another reason I could never get into the book.
Frank Miller used that a lot, and Kevin Smith really played on that
Yes.
a lot, which I liked, but I can see why that would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, and besides Chris Samney, there were great artists on this run. There were Marcos Martin, I was trying to mention. Paulo Rivera was actually
Paulo Rivera was wonderful, yeah.
He was the original. I think he was on the first either 6 or 12. But I know you read it in trade. I mean, if they keep this in print, there's definitely a few editions of it. It's a great series.
I think it's all collected in, 8 volumes?
Yeah, and I think
7 or 8 volumes.
you have to be careful where you start because I believe when they rebooted it, they did another volume 1.
Oh.
So make sure you get volume 1 of the first series. Where I think there's a bunch of spirals on it, but that's the one. Gotcha. It's a great series, though. And I'm interested to see what Charles Soule had, but he's got big shoes to fill.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Alright, I'm going to do Midnighter, number 4. Great book.
I didn't read this one yet.
Very good book.
I like the cover, though.
So I don't keep interrupting you. I just want to point because you're going to talk about it in Omega Man 4. You should. I might have to vote whoever does the colors in Midnighter. Jesus Christ, Midnighter as one of the best colorists.
Yeah.
Because I think he does Omega Man too.
The colorist is Romulo Fajardo Jr. Fajardo. We're in Russia. This is issue number 4, and it's From Russia with Grace, which is a play on From Russia with Love, James Bond. Cover's gorgeous. This is a guest artist. This is, I don't think, the artist that drew the previous 3 issues.
Yeah, what I like though is because they keep the colorists, like it kind of looks very similar.
It does. It really does. Yeah. And we are if you've seen the movie Hostel, the premise is that super rich people.
No one has not seen that movie.
I know, right? Super rich people can pay to go and kill people. And that's essentially what's happening here. We're over in Moscow, and you have this taxi full of three dudes who are drunk, and they're bros, and they're going to this like dumpy building, and they go inside, and it's the Inn of Guire Grando, and they basically pay money, and they go inside, and there is this poor little dude who looks like a vampire, like he has fangs and white skin, garlic clothes around his neck, and they basically stake him with a wooden stake, and it goes splurch, and he explodes.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
And they catch it all on film. And they're talking about how they're heroes. Yeah, right, exactly. So now they're going to be like big heroes with their girlfriends and their wives because they killed the vampire.
Their dicks are going to be sucked off with them.
Oh yes, that's how hot they are now. Then we have Dick and we have Midnighter, and they're in their civilian guises. And
Midnighter's hair, by the way. I don't know.
it's a little weird. I don't know if I like it.
He looks very relaxed.
Yeah, it's shaved on the sides,
Yeah.
but like thick on the top. It's kind of like a high and tight sort of thing. And there's this issue. The best part about this issue for me is the constant dialogue and interplay between Dick and Midnighter. Sometimes it's quite sexual. But he abducted Dick to come over there to Russia and help him with
That's the
this
best part. He
case.
didn't ask him. He just fucking kidnapped him.
He just basically kidnapped him. And they're talking to this Russian guy who's basically a friend of Midnighter's, and he's explaining to them that essentially that this is God Garden technology that has been stolen.
Yeah.
And that is what is making this hostile place.
That happened in issue 1, right?
Yeah. I'm beginning to get the impression that this whole series is going to be dealing with the fallout of that technology.
And they're doing it. Orlando's doing it smart, like because the issues kind of stand alone, but they tie all together with that.
With the
that-
overarching,
Yeah.
so that you know that eventually it's going to lead back to the big bad.
Exactly.
So he coerces Dick, and then there's a very homoerotic scene where the three guys that basically just killed the vampire are hanging out in this hothouse, sauna. And the weird part is they take branches of a tree and they whack themselves in the back with this sauna. So in one of the hottest comic panels I've seen in years, Dick and Midnighter come in wearing nothing but little towels around them, and
That song from what was that movie where Josh Reynolds gets caught jerking off? What's that? Something like that. No one knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, they play that when what's your face is taking a That's what's playing.
gotcha, your soundtrack. And Midnighter says, so, you get naked and beat each other with a branch for health? And then he says, how does mine measure up, boys? And of course he's referring to this branch. He's holding the branch behind his back, but of course, it's the double entendre, so to speak. And they end up getting in this knockdown, drag-out brawl with these dudes in this sauna. And what's funny is this guy who's totally unrelated to anything is sitting in the corner reading a newspaper, and he basically watches the whole thing and never even bothers to stand up or move or get involved in any way.
Smart.
Yeah.
They want to get beat up.
But there's a lot of, like he says, ready to receive a new hole, you goat-fondling jackass. And then, what was the other thing that killed me? Oh,
My abdominally gifted friend.
he calls Dick his abdominally gifted friend, and then he's holding his head over the sauna rocks, and he says, Midnighter says to the bad guy, I want to see how many sauna rocks you can take internally.
Yeah.
Speak helpfully now, if that doesn't interest you. And then Dick says to him on the way out, he's like, don't you already know how many? So, like, there's a lot of sexual innuendo going on here, and I'm surprised that Orlando can kind of get away with a lot of it.
Because it's Teen Plus, it's not whatever they're mixed up with.
Right. But then again, I guess maybe a lot of stuff goes over people's heads.
Sure, I guess if it's in the window, it's not direct. You can get away with it.
Right.
Or maybe maybe teens already know about this shit.
That's true, too. This is a different world. I gotta keep remembering, I'm 45, and this is a different world that these kids live in nowadays.
Yeah, they can read about this, but if a character fucking smokes in a book, people are like,
Yeah, God forbid. Right, exactly. So they basically end up, these dudes in the sauna, they basically end up giving away the location of this hostel.
Yeah.
And, they go there, and they find this vampire who, it turns out, is not really a vampire. He's just a dude who has basically been genetically altered by the God Garden technology.
yeah, he has similar powers, but
Yeah, he's similar to a vampire, exactly. So they go inside, and what I love, there's this scene where there's this old Russian woman wearing a babushka, and she's working the front desk, and she tries to be like all hard ass, but like Midnighter immediately like psychoprobes her, and he's like, I won't insult your intelligence. He's like, your husband died, 20 years ago? You raised a family on your own. You worked full time. You survived. This is your home. Someone made it into something bad. You refused to leave. We're here to clean out the rats. So she's working there just as a way to survive, because this is the building that she raised her family in. And
she's no loyalty.
No loyalty. And Midnighter's like, listen, you let us go in there and kick some ass, and we're going to take care of you. She's like, go, whatever. And so they go in, and they get in this battle, and they're kicking ass. And let's see what else helps
When
here.
they kick in the door, that's pretty nice panel there.
Yes.
It's a strange form of recreation you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic. Just the dialogue, especially between Dick and Midnighter, back and forth, just the interplay. And then Midnighter ends up getting abducted by this, like, sort of this faux vampire.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he can even phase through things.
He can phase. He can turn into other animals. It's kind of strange. He throws Midnighter. Midnighter gets stuck on like a hook, like a meat hook. But he has these things on his costume that allows him to like basically break the metal, and he frees himself from that. And he basically like knees the guy in the head and like makes his head explode, and cockroaches and rats come flying out of his head. And Midnighter just kind of laughs. He's like, "Cool, old school." He's like, "Oh, the vermin thing, old school." You know, because like in the original Dracula movie, he could turn into like rats and shit. So Midnighter and the sound effects, sklitch, splurch, squitch, as he's like literally like grabbing the rats and like
should have been their Halloween issue.
I know it should have. It really should have. It was very close. And then the thing is coming up behind him, and he doesn't realize it. And Dick comes in and says, "Midnighter, right behind you!" And he ends up basically cutting off the vampire's head with the blades that are on the side of his costume. And you can tell Dick doesn't approve because Dick doesn't believe in killing. And Midnighter looks at him and he goes, "What? I was out of stakes." Like, you know, that's a perfectly plausible explanation for what he just did.
Which there was a lie, because you see him pulling out a stick.
Yeah, oh, he was totally lying. And then the reason you find out that the main reason that Midnighter wanted Dick to come along with him is because he wanted him to get to the bottom of the technology that was used and to kind of like reverse engineer it. But unfortunately, when they try to save the people that have been turned into vampires, it backfires. It was like a booby trap.
Yeah, and their bodies just disintegrate.
Yeah,
It's so sad.
their bodies like automatically disintegrate. So then Dick decides he's interested enough now in this situation to kind of stick around and help Midnighter out. And Midnighter puts his hand on his shoulder and he says, "I liked you as gleeful captive, but I can learn to be into sullen participant," because that's kind of like how Dick's attitude has now shifted. So they have another drink, and then you find out at the end that this dude, this Alexander Alexandrovich, what he really wants to do is he wants to pirate the technology that created Midnighter, like his mental computer that allows him to like assess any situation and see any possible battle outcome.
We still don't know his origin.
No, we really don't.
It seems like they're hinting toward things here, and like they might reveal more because like
Right.
he has a file that has his whole origin, kind of like Bloodshot.
Which is one of the things that was stolen. And
Yes,
yes,
right.
very much like Bloodshot. Only Bloodshot has his, and he's
He
afraid
has
to
his
read it.
theory, Yes.
Big pussy. Talking to you.
There's a you can't see it. Bloodshot's in the ceiling. So
Beautiful.
Brian wasn't talking to God.
No, you're talking to Bloodshot up there.
Brian doesn't believe.
No. So yes, that was Midnighter number
Would you like to
4.
be part of our church?
Love this book. I'm praying that in light of recent news, it is not one of the ones that is canceled.
See, ironically, you could pray in our church.
I believe in God, but I'm going to pray.
Okay, it's not my style. It's not my style. I wouldn't want to be a member of any church that would have me as a member.
We accept all.
What's your church, Luke?
Yeah, what's
Was
your
that a wacky one? Did you get talking to that weird one with a bullshit flyer on here?
No, but he's going to create one like John Oliver.
Oh, okay.
Or like that comic guy that Bob's coming. Well, he didn't kill him. What's your review?
Bring it down.
People in cold stuff, man. That's
Alright, so for my next book, I'll be talking about
I'm just who cares?
Lobo, number 10, part of the Sinestro Rising storyline. Cullen Bunn, yay, shocker. I like something Cullen Bunn did.
I think it's getting to a point where because Columbine writes so much, we almost review something like that.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help that I read like 13 of all the I read almost all the stuff he does.
And the ones that you don't, Strike Master does, so everything is covered.
I read
It's-
Aquaman, which I guess
I stopped reading Aquaman.
I don't like the art.
It's exactly what I know.
Trevor McCarthy had.
It's Cullen Bunn and Frank Barbieri.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
And penciled by Robson Roca. 3 inkers. That's a little weird. Blonde on the colors. So, yeah.
Just blonde.
Just blonde.
Three people to trace together.
There's a lot of detail in this book. I'm sure inking took a very, very long time. So we started on the planet Nock, home of the Indigo Lanterns. It's exactly what it says.
And okay. Or
And okay.
Oh.
And okay. Knock. Who's there? The Indigos.
Keep going.
All right. So basically it's Lobo is narrating. He's talking about how the Indigo Lanterns came to be, and that it was Avon Sur that worked with one of the natives of this planet, where there were all these like criminals on the planet, and introduced them to the Indigo Light and turned them into the Indigo Core. But the Indigo Core actually saps you of all your emotions, and you just turn into these like kind of, I don't want to say mindless, but kind of zombies. It's just
Like a real zombie.
just like it just turns them into soldiers. Like it's just they're mindless. I won't say mindless, but they
Like drones.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
drones.
Exactly.
They just do what they're told. So Indigo One, the leader of the Indigos, is sitting there meditating, and she is attacked by one of her other one of the other Indigos.
Almost had more than that. Like Renfield's a wolf.
And
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
and the thing with the Indigos is they don't talk outside of saying knock.
Oh wow.
Like that's all they say, which is why I call the Indigo Lanterns the worst knock joke ever. But so she's getting attacked, and the one that's attacking her is missing his right hand, which is the ring hand. So he's missing his ring hand, and right before he is about to strike like a killing blow on her, Lobo comes in and kills him. And like Indigo looks at him, and he's making like how he's saying Sinestro sent me to take out the lanterns across the universe, paying top dollar. But these lanterns, left to their own devices, some may kill each other, you know. So Indigo basically looks at him like, knock? And he's like, I know what that means, but trust me, I'm the opposite. And so they start fighting, and he's like, these look familiar, and he empties his bag, and it's all like all these ring hands from Indigo Lanterns.
Oh.
And so they start fighting, and she activates a bunch of indigo rings, and it's trying to get on Lobo's finger to turn him into an indigo, and one actually gets on his finger, and he's like, no, I can feel this thing burning away my emotions, trying to make me like them. He's like, I'm nothing like them, and he just bites off the finger with the ring on it. He's like, didn't expect that, did you?
Jeez.
He's like, I can afford to lose a finger or two, but how about you, Indigo One? What are you? And right when he's almost modeling, she like teleports out of there, and he's like, God damn it! All right, well, she won't get far. That was pretty fun. This job's turned out to be more interesting than I thought it would be. Then we go back to he's going to check in with Sinestro, and in the background, it's Indigo One, Hal, and Atrocitus are like the pictures that are like they're discussing the three of them, and what the heck's her name?
Oh, the one from the fourth game?
Yeah, the female Hara or Kadra. Kadra is standing there. Basically, I guess it's like Lobo's agent,
Oh,
because like they're talking about he's talking about business. They're talking about business and things like that. And like he throws down a bunch of the Indigo Lanterns, and such like, you've done well. Does one of these belong to Indigo One? Like, she got away. Like, but don't worry, a Lobo never leaves a job unfinished. And one of the Yellow Lanterns makes like a wisecrack, like sounds like a coward who, and Sinestro just shoots her a look, and she's like, I gotta go. She's like, I just remembered, I'm needed elsewhere. I gotta go. So we get nice back and forth where apparently Sinestro really, really hates the Indigo Lanterns, and Kadra loses that. He's like, oh, don't remember. You need a Lobo to take them out. And he's like, I don't need a Lobo. I could do it myself. I just don't have the time right now. It's like I could if other matters occupy my attention. And he actually starts praising Indigo. He's like, yeah, you're an excellent soldier. This regime needs more like you. He's like, I don't need your praise. Just tell me who's next. So it's like, fine, we'll upload the targets. And who does he send them after? The Red Lanterns. And there is Bleez and Ragnarok are fleeing from Lobo and his ship. And Lobo actually says he's struggling to keep up. He's like, I won't be able to keep up. It's time to get serious. Time to unload everything. And Ragnarok's like, I'm gonna just, or Rancor. I keep freaking that. Rancor is just like, all right, I'm gonna take him out. And he just faced me like a man, and Lobo ejects out of his ship and just stabs Rancor right through the chest. And he's like, "Is that all you got?" He's like, I can sense it. I can sense the rage, in you." He's like, "You're quick, but not quick enough." He's like, "You would make an excellent Red Lantern." And he's like, "Nah, he's like, I don't need that." He's like, "The ring gives us purpose." "No, I'm just saying you shouldn't let it blind you." And he like pushes a button on like a comm, and his ship comes and just impales Rancor.
Shit.
Right? And he's like, "No, you deceived me." He's like, "Combat's all about position. You let your rage leaves you wide open. Consider it a teachable moment." Well, if you would actually live past this point. He's like, "Not that you're gonna live long enough to learn from it." So he just flies up, takes the ring off Rancor's hand, and during this, Bleez gets away, flies down onto the planet, and basically is talking to someone like, "We've lost Rancor," to a Zarnarian hunter. He's like, and then someone's like, "This will not stand. The Red Lanterns do not yield," and it's Atrocitus and Dexter. Hey, Dexter, I love one of my favorite lanterns. No, but
Did they come in yet?
I have 2 or 3 different Dexter figures. Like all the ones they made. He's like, "We waited in the shadows as the Rage Mother perfected our rings, but no longer. We will take the hunter's head." So, yay! The Red Lanterns are entering the fray.
So does that continue in this book, or does it continue?
I have a feeling it's going to continue in Sinestro. It's crossing over between Lobo and Sinestro, so I think it's going to just go back and forth.
It's weird that they didn't number them on the cover.
Oh, it's just Sinestro, just part of the storyline.
I know, but sometimes they have that.
Yeah, but then, what if one accidentally comes out? Or,
Yes, you never know.
In Return of the Jedi, when Luke goes in the beginning to barter for Han,
Yeah.
and he gets dropped into that pit, and
The Rancor.
that is also called the Rancor. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that word from somewhere.
So that's part of
When you say he gets dropped into the pit,
Yeah.
you're referring where Jabba's palace.
Not the Sarlacc pit.
Right.
The actual.
Yeah.
This is when he goes in the beginning.
The fighting. Like
I would
the
take it to
fight.
Jabba now.
Bib
Ooh,
14.
Jabba no Maga.
Bib 14.
Bib 14.
He's a Twi'lek, wasn't he?
What's that?
Twi'lek.
Oh yeah, they had the.
Yeah, they're called Twi'leks. That's right.
Who else? I don't remember seeing that in pictures of them.
Actually,
The
the
dancing girl?
dancer.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Right
right.
in
and-
that same scene.
In the expanded universe, there were several female Twi'lek Jedi.
There were also
yeah,
there were
right, 'cause
also
there's,
there were also Twi'lek pilots in the Rosewater.
Because he looks kind of different. Like the dancer is kind of.
No,
Different
the dancer
colors.
looked the
So
same.
that's why I guess.
But she had the head.
I guess because his is wrapped around.
Do you remember what the creature's name was? His little companion?
He already said it.
The Salacious
There's a
Crumb.
band called Salacious Crumb. I want to buy their album just because they name Salacious Crumb.
All right. Speaking of band, you remember what the band was?
Backstreet Boy band.
Damn. There's no getting past
He's one of
Kyle.
the best characters, and he's a little below.
Lead singer, Size
Size
Noodles.
Noodles. That was the blue elephant, right?
Yeah, Backstreet Boy was the blue elephant.
Did you guys like the song in the remake? When they redid the song with Jock Scott?
I don't really care what the other.
When they ended up with 2 backup singers
Yeah.
there.
Alright, so my next and last review of the night. Alright, well, never mind. Right. Your turn. Imperium number
Great book.
But Divinity's on the cover.
It's my favorite book.
one.
But this
It
Divinity book.
kind of is.
It is my favorite monthly comic.
Wow. Number 8, Joshua Dice said it was his favorite monthly comic. I can see dialogue is in there, like it lets you know that that's mad. But you haven't seen him.
Laying in bed in this room, this tiny little room. it kind of like reminds me of like Das Boot, or a movie that would take place in a submarine. You're in very like cramped quarters. And I'm not a huge fan of the art. It's a guest artist this issue, but it's still very good for what
Same
they
colors?
need. Probably the same colors that I
No,
don't
just
know.
keep going. I don't
Yeah. But anyway, he's lying in bed next to Callista, and they have her, like I said, planted in there. And she's pretending to be a prisoner of theirs as well. And he's telling her this whole story about how he was the only Green Lantern who became a Green Lantern by choice, or by what is the word I'm looking for? By accident. In other words, he was not chosen by the Corps. He was not chosen by the Ring. He just happened to find a ring in an alleyway. So the point of him going into all of this is he's describing to her how he actually does have fear, and that this whole myth about how the Green Lanterns basically have to be fearless is a bunch of bullshit, because he has a lot of fear, and he's basically had to overcome it. You know what I mean? To be a Green Lantern, and
Isn't that almost a bigger, like a bigger feat? You know? Like,
exactly, to overcome your fears. And so, essentially, and then he talks a lot about his girlfriend. Now, I don't know what happened to his girlfriend post New 52. Pre New 52, she was killed by Major Force. He stuffed her into a refrigerator, and that's kind of how Gail Simone became famous, because she started that column about women being put in refrigerators. So in the New 52, he talks about her dying. He doesn't really explain how she died, and he just talks about fate and the flip of a coin, and how if one side of the coin had come up, he would have had a happy life with her, and he would have been an artist, and he would have woken up every morning, and he would have drawn his dreams to make his dreams his own. But unfortunately, the other side of the coin toss came up, and he found the ring, and he became a Green Lantern, and he became a warrior. His girlfriend got killed, yada yada. So they're going on and on and on and on about that, and here he is holding her dead body, and it's very moving and poignant. And he's talking about how he couldn't save her. And now, like, his greatest fear is he's lost the ring, he's powerless, he's become a captive of the Omega Men, and that this fear that he can't save everybody is just basically crippling him.
It's a great fear to have, though. He wants to save him.
He wants to save everybody, right? He explains how he got into this because the Vegan system has an agreement with the Green Lantern Corps. None of the Green Lanterns are allowed to go there. So he says, all right, what if I give up my ring? Can I come in as a diplomat and try to work out a peace agreement between the Citadel and the Omega Men, which are like basically the two warring parties in the Vegan system? They agree. He takes off his ring. He shows up. They try to have like a diplomatic entente, whatever you want to call it. And essentially, Brute, who's one of the Omega Men, ends up basically bashing Kyle in the face. They take him captive. They never give him the ring back. And when he wakes up, he has this bomb planted in his neck. So basically, he's basically 100% their captive now. He has no control. Then Callista, she basically tells him that she thinks that he's very brave, and that she appreciates what he tried to do. And then she goes into her horrible childhood. Oh, meanwhile, it pulls back and it shows Primus and it shows Tigor, who are two of the Omega Men. And that's when it reveals to you, the reader, that she is one of them. Well, actually, we found out last issue that she's one of them. But what it shows you is that they're watching from like a camera. They're watching what's happening in this room.
TV.
Thank you. And then it's very hard for Primus to watch Callista do this, because she's more or less coming on to Kyle, and she is his woman. So it's hard for him to like watch what's going on. So anyway, she goes into her history, and she explains how her planet was conquered by the Citadel, and they were brought to the Vegan system, and they had to reoccupy this new planet, and that in order to pacify the Citadel, they had to basically kill the native inhabitants of that planet. And that every morning from the time she was like 8 years old, from the time they revealed to her that she was a princess and that she was going to eventually become the ruler of the planet, she had to basically train in her swordsmanship and kill like 5 or 6 of these innocent inhabitants of this planet. Pretty brutal shit. Pretty brutal shit. So again, and I'm going to skip a lot too, because what it does is it goes into every single one of the 7 or 8 worlds that are in the Vegan system, and it explains the horrible things that they've had to do on those planets to basically make peace with the Citadel.
Just a side question: are these I don't recognize the Vegas system. Like, do these exist in pre-existing like DC stuff? Like,
Absolutely.
Is
The original Omega Men had to do with the Vegan system and the Citadel. Yeah. Now, whether they appeared prior to this in the New 52, that I don't know, because I didn't read a lot of the space books.
Does that ever come back in like, the region of the Vegas system?
I believe it does, yes. Yes, from time to time. So they go through all 7 or 8 worlds, and they talk about, you know, the horrible things that are happening there. And in the end, Kyle goes over to her bed, and puts his big strapping arm around her. And of course, like, he's wearing next to nothing, and she's wearing next to nothing. And look at his, like, you know, his bulging arms, and he embraces her. And he's like, I don't hate you for what you had to do. You know, you did what you did to survive. And she's like, well, I respect you because, you know, you gave up the ring and you came here to try and broker a peace for my people, yada, yada. So at the end, they refer to Kyle as the bomb. And so, in other words, they're saying that they're turning Kyle into their bomb, meaning they're turning him over to basically what the Omega Men believe in and what the Omega Men are fighting for. So I think where this series might go is that Kyle is going to get the ring back and he's going to become one of the Omega Men. And he's going to fight against the Citadel to free the Vegan system. Because really, where this whole thing is going, they want you to think that the Omega Men are bad.
Right.
The Omega Men are good.
Yeah, the first issue makes them seem like criminals.
Right.
Until the end.
Then you come to find out that the Citadel is terrible,
Right.
and they're basically fighting to liberate the people of the Vegan system.
Now, I've read a lot of Green Lantern. I don't know, but you can, obviously, if you're Green Lantern, you can defend your sector and all that
Yeah.
stuff, but if he's using a ring in an area where he's not supposed to, couldn't he get his ring stripped?
I would think so.
Well, no, because the Lanterns can help out each other. Or by that logic, Sinestro would have never been able to use his Green Lantern on Earth.
But I think he's saying because it's
No, but he said
specifically
they had a
sector where
deal.
nobody's allowed.
Yeah, like no Green Lantern is supposed to go in there, and if he
Right. Almost like in Star Trek, how the Federation's not allowed to go into
But he was, if he went, he got approval to go in there as a diplomat.
as a diplomat without his ring, as
So
a
if he's doing, but I'm saying, like, if he's doing it then as like a defense type thing,
that's what it's not going. Like if he joins their team, that's not going to be defense. At that point, it's just
then
choice.
he
Right.
probably could.
lose his ring.
There probably could be some sort of ramification.
Can they remotely cut off power to a ring?
That's also that.
Let's
No.
not say that because then we're going to have people like, well, it's what they're like.
Right, exactly.
Well, it's other there are no more, but they're scattered.
They
Just
just-
a lot of them are gone. Like,
Yeah.
That's why you have the Lost Army.
That's why
they're in
Sinister
some
made
place
his
they have
daughter
no
a-
idea where they are.
That's why
Yeah.
Sinister made his daughter a yellow lantern.
Ceramic Natu. But yeah, this book really did turn out to be a sleeper hit for me. I love it. I look forward to it every month. I was not thrilled with the fill-in artist this issue, but you know, that notwithstanding, very good book.
And Tom King was the
Yes, I'm sorry, I did not. Tom King is the writer. Toby Cypress, who's not a bad artist.
No,
I
just
just don't
not
like him
the-
for the Omega Man. Yeah, yeah. I forget the name of the previous artist who did the first 3 issues, but he was wonderful.
Yes, I agree with that. Well, I only saw the first issue. But yeah, and the first issue was
Look at me, I did 2 DC books in a row. That doesn't happen too often.
yeah, well, it was a good week for DC.
Yeah, it was.
Good book. I read Batman. I didn't review it, but that's a good book. You don't be able to pick it up. It's fun.
We did almost all DC books tonight.
No.
Almost all.
4 out of 6.
That's more than half. So.
I did 2.
There was no Batman.
To be fair, though,
Batman didn't come out.
to be fair, though, I don't think anybody actually mentioned a DC book for previous.
No.
That's because that's a
No.
given. We're getting.
But I
DC
didn't mention a Marvel either, so I feel that kind of.
Did I? I don't think I did. Mine was all wrestling shit.
Mine was all indie shit.
I did Carnage.
Carnage shit.
Oh, and we had Star Wars, which is not a Marvel, but like
Flex it down.
I was gonna mention the Batman Journal. Oh,
And Batman Europa. We mentioned, I did.
yeah, your robot's fine with me. It's crazy.
Is that the Jim Lee?
It's the Jim Lee.
But be careful. He only draws the first issue.
what?
Yeah. It's a different artist every issue.
But he's writing it?
No.
Oh, I thought it was.
I think Brian Azzarello.
Nice.
I think Brian Azzarello's writing it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a different artist every
Hey,
issue. I
you
almost
might
fell
be
into
on
that trap as
time
well. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
We'll complain.
You just made me
So right. You're so right. We'll bitch either way.
You just made me sad.
Oh,
Be
No, but I
sorry.
thought because when that was
No, wait.
we can have
Wait.
the show, but like that years ago, when I think it was years ago, that was originally solicited. Like I'm gonna do the art, the writing. It was supposed to be Jim Lee.
Let me just make sure I'm not talking out my ass, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's right.
I'm pretty sure that it says he's just doing the first issue. One moment while I access the information. Your call is important to me. Batman Europa. Art and cover by Jim Lee. With this premiere issue. 4-issue miniseries event will feature art by top talents over layouts by the incomparable Giuseppe Camuncoli. So, with the first issue penciled and inked by none other than Jim Lee. So, yeah, it's a different artist every issue.
I know how to do the old pin switch.
Yeah, I mean, I was so excited too.
Well, do you like Giuseppe Camuncoli?
But it's Azzarello.
He does most of Spider-Man stuff in the slot.
It is Azzarello. I think there's a lead. I think there's a lead for Maple Barry cover for the first issue.
The first thing I want to say
on the way home.
is none of those people are Jim Lee.
Oh shit! Or else they'd be named Jim Lee.
But they are going over layouts. There's actually inking him.
Well, no,
layouts are
they're
very-
inking Giuseppe Camuncoli.
Yeah, that's his layout.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
His artwork is nothing like Jim Lee's. Like I like Giuseppe Camuncoli. I actually really like his Spider-Man stuff, but he doesn't like anything like Jim Lee. I get it. You know
Let's
who
just
would have
let's
been
just all go kill ourselves.
Jason Fabok.
Oh,
That would
oh
because
man.
I
His
can
Justice
get
League.
behind that.
I like him.
How about Jim Lee?
I can get behind that.
Ugh,
He's nowhere
I
near
just
as
guarantee I won't buy it.
you know.
Is it the hair you guys don't like? The whiskey hair?
He loves it.
It's a whole atmosphere he creates. I can't
Gravity does
describe
not
it.
exist in his
Weird.
artwork.
There's not a
Yeah.
lot of backgrounds, I guess.
He doesn't. Yeah, it's all plain
I
color.
do complain about that with John Byrne.
Actually, that's not really true. Do you
Yeah.
ever read like read his Transformer books?
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Jay Lee.
It's just hair. Oh, I didn't know he did Transformers.
There's no.
It's kind of hard to get
Cars and robots.
Kind of hard to get a wispy hair dude from Autobot.
You might like the art style at least.
So you're saying he draws cars and houses as well?
I'm saying he draws robots really well.
Is there a house transformer? Because if there isn't, there should be. Like a mobile house transformer.
Yeah, the Decepticon version should be called Home Brother.
That's awesome. Well, if you have a great name for a transformer that transforms into a house, you can send it to us at SaturdayMorningComicsPodcast@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook or Facebook.com/Hall of Heroes. Twitter, we're Hall O Heroes. I'm Operator Chris.
I'm the Silver Fox.
Yeah.
And the Toy Master League.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for